Money does not have limits. Don't let the numbers limit your imagination. Welcome to materiaLuxic. Have you ever heard of a country with economic troubles so bad that it decided to adopt Bitcoin as its last resort? Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, then let us introduce you to the sad tale of how Bitcoin couldn't save El Salvador from its financial problems. Strap in, friends, because it will be a long story. Bitcoin was the economic lifeline for El Salvador, but so far, the bet isn't paying off as President Nayib Bukele had planned. The government's cryptocurrency holdings have been reduced by half. Bitcoin adoption isn't picking up across the country, and most importantly, the nation needs a lot of money, fast, to satisfy its debt obligations of more than $1 billion over the course of the next year. This occurs as Bitcoin prices have dropped more than 70% from their peak in November 2021 and more than 55% since Bukele first revealed his scheme. El Salvador's economic development has slowed. Its deficit is still large, and the country's debt-to-GDP ratio, which measures how much a nation owes about its income, is expected to reach about 87% this year, raising concerns that El Salvador won't be able to pay back its debts. When you combine these economic problems with a doubled campaign against gang violence, a nation is on the verge of collapse. According to The Surface, Bitcoin hasn't paid off. According to Boaz Sobrado, a data analyst for fintech companies located in London, the fact that the government is on the verge of bankruptcy is not Bitcoin's responsibility. The finance minister notes that the government's unrealized paper loss on Bitcoin is only about $50 million, or less than 0.5% of the total budget. According to estimates, the entire experiment and all related expenses only cost the government $374 million in total. Even though El Salvador has $7.7 billion worth of outstanding bonds, that amount is not insignificant compared to the country's $29 billion economies. Because they are reluctant to give money to a nation that is spending millions of tax dollars on a cryptocurrency whose price is subject to tremendous volatility, negotiations with international lenders have halted. The introduction of Bitcoin as legal cash has caused rating firms to downgrade El Salvador's credit rating, notably Fitch, citing the uncertainty of the nation's financial future. President Bukele would now have to pay even higher interest rates to acquire the money he needs. El Salvador is in an extremely precarious position financially. They trade a large number of bonds at significant discounts, Sobrado continued. According to Frank Mucci, a policy scholar at the London School of Economics with experience advising governments in Latin America, the economic policy of the nation is fundamentally magical thinking. The Salvadorian economy will grow by 2.9% this year and 1.9% in 2023. Down from 10.7% in 2021, according to World Bank projections. However, its expansion represented a recovery from 2020's 8.6% drop. Its debt is expensive, costing about 5% annually compared to 1.5% in the US, and its debt-to-GDP ratio is close to 90%. The nation also has a sizable deficit, and there are no plans to lower it, either by tax increases or significant spending reductions. El Salvador's Eurobonds have reportedly reached distress territory in the past year, according to analysts in a research note from JP Morgan. Additionally, S&P Global data reveals that the cost of insurance against a sovereign debt default is at multi-year highs. The government is on an unsustainable path, according to warnings from JP Morgan and the International Monetary Fund, with gross financial needs expected to exceed 15% of GDP starting in 2022 and public debt on track to reach 96% of GDP by 2026 under current policies. Mucci, who specializes in economic diversification and public financial management and has participated in applied research projects for El Salvador, Venezuela, and Honduras, noted that in the last 3 to 4 months, gasoline subsidies have been implemented which are very expensive. In terms of economic policy, this nation is directionless. They have no idea where they're going or what they're doing. After all, one day at a time, in my opinion, is the best advice, said he. El Salvador is currently dealing with several massive debt payback deadlines, including one for an $800 million Eurobond that expires in January. El Salvador is also unable to print money to support its finances. El Salvador adopted the US dollar as its official currency in 2001, replacing its previous currency, the colon. Additional dollars can only be printed by the Federal Reserve. While its other official money, Bitcoin, is admired for also being unable to be created out of thin air. In addition to developing a national virtual wallet dubbed Chivo, Salvadoran slang for cool, that provides no free transactions and enables speedy cross-border payments, the program involves purchasing Bitcoin with public funds. In a nation where most transactions are conducted in cash and where around 70% of the population lacks access to standard financial services like bank accounts or credit cards, Chivo was designed to provide a simple entry point for those who had never used the banking system. The experiment also included mandating that all companies taking Bitcoin and establishing a national infrastructure of ATMs for Bitcoin. In November, the president raised the stakes by announcing intentions to develop a Bitcoin city in southeastern El Salvador next to the Conchagua volcano. The city, financed by Bitcoins, would provide significant tax relief, and Bitcoin miners would be powered by geothermal energy emitted by the nearby volcano. Overall, the government has spent about $375 million on the adoption of Bitcoin, which includes a $150 million trust created to instantly convert Bitcoin into dollars, $120 million for the $30 bonus given to each citizen who downloaded the Chivo wallet. No small sum in a nation where the monthly minimum wage is $365 and roughly $104 million that the government has openly acknowledged spending on Bitcoin. According to Mucci, the country has spent almost $425 million on making Bitcoin happen. After taking into account these costs and the $50 million in unrealized losses on its Bitcoin portfolio. However, 9 months into its national gamble on Bitcoin, it doesn't seem to be fulfilling many of its lofty promises right now. President Bukele tweeted in January that 4 million people use the app. Only 20% of those who downloaded the wallet after using the $30 prize continue to use it, according to a survey from the National Bureau of Economic Research. The nationally representative survey included 1,800 families. In terms of actual penetration of Bitcoin transactions, it seems to be quite low. The state-issued wallets caused complications. It had bugs despite being popular. Poor user experience. Some who used the government's cryptocurrency wallet experienced app-related troubles. Other Salvadorians experienced identity theft when hackers opened a Chivo e-wallet using their national ID number to obtain $30 worth of Bitcoin as an incentive to sign up. Sobrado tells CNBC that El Salvador's Bitcoin gamble has been a success in attracting Bitcoin tourists. Sobrado said tourism was growing despite unrealized Bitcoin losses. They've attracted a large following of Bitcoin believers and funding from them. If you consider the unrealized losses a marketing effort, El Salvador may have already achieved its goal. According to government estimates, tourism has climbed 30% since September's Bitcoin law. The tourism minister says 60% of visitors are from the US. Bitcoin hasn't hurt the president's popularity. Bukele's high approval ratings are largely due to his tough-on-crime administration. Sobrado said Mr. Bukele is still a popular president. People in other regions of the world dream of his 80% approval rating. Almost everyone agrees that President Bukele will do everything he can to pay off the nation's debt this year and next. Bukele is running for re-election as president in 2024. JP Morgan expects the $800 million bonds to mature in January to avoid disruptive credit events that might derail his prospects for a potential re-election. As the year progresses, Mucci acknowledges that El Salvador can raise the sums, but warns that the country's finances are unsustainable. Mucci says that without adjustments, the plane will crash. If they don't raise taxes, cut spending, and show prudence, proving market sustainability. The concept of a crypto city, which is still in its infancy, is difficult to grasp because of the many different connotations of the term crypto. Many people use the term crypto city to refer to a city that employs some form of cryptographic technology for various purposes. Using blockchain technology, for instance, can help increase government openness and community involvement. Bitcoin City, on the other hand, aims to attract foreign investment by leveraging the proceeds from the sale of cryptocurrencies to fund a city, as well as locally produced energy to power the city's cryptocurrency mining operations. Crypto assets can be used as a beacon to draw in investors. Bitcoin City's Bitcoin bonds would serve as a means of achieving this level of capitalization, debt. However, how it was carried out tarnished its potential to help mend the economy and restore confidence in the system. So let's say that if you were able to fix such a dire situation for those in El Salvador, what would you do? Let us know in the comments down below. And don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel to receive all of our latest videos.